Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss an underrated airline credit card that I think deserves to get a little bit more look at. This is going to be the JetBlue Business Credit Card. Now I've seen many videos when it comes to United credit cards or Delta credit cards or American Airlines credit cards, but there's not as many when it comes to JetBlue credit cards. And also when you end up looking at the JetBlue Business credit cards, I've yet to actually find one dedicated specifically to this card, even though I think this card actually ends up being a little bit better than more people would realize. Now I currently have the JetBlue Plus credit card, which is the personal credit card with JetBlue. I got this card when they were offering a 100,000 point sign-up bonus a couple of years ago. I was able to use those points to fly in JetBlue Mint, which is something that I always wanted to do ever since getting on JetBlue's aircraft, and I had an absolutely incredible experience. And so far for me, it has been the best way that I've been able to travel transcontinental. Now, while I think that the JetBlue Plus personal credit card is decent for people who like to fly JetBlue, as a whole, when it comes to airline credit cards, I don't see them as being very strong cards, and I always see other credit cards out there that can end up being better earner cards for the exact same airline with better currency. The problem with most airline credit cards is that their earning multipliers is not very strong when it comes to earning miles with their specific program. If you end up looking at hotel credit cards, usually you're going to end up earning way more with that hotel if you actually end up having their personal credit card and use it at that hotel. But if you end up looking at a lot of airline credit cards, say for instance like the Delta credit card lineup, you're going to get yourself 3x back on Delta flights earning Delta miles. But if you end up getting yourself the American Express Green Card or the American Express Gold Card, you're also going to get yourself 3x back on Delta flights or any flights out there, and you're going to be getting yourself membership reward points, which ends up being a transferable currency, which is significantly stronger than just earning yourself Delta Sky Miles. So the problem with airline credit cards is that the majority of them are going to give you equal value to other credit cards out there that are actually connected with being able to transfer the points over to that program. So if you end up seeing that you can end up getting yourself a card that's going to give you a transferable currency of equal value to that exact same program that you like to fly with, it just makes more sense to end up going with one of those other cards instead, because it's going to give you way more versatility with your points. But the reason why I like the JetBlue Business Credit Card is because if you're someone who actually wants to earn JetBlue miles, you're going to have the highest earning potential using the JetBlue Business Credit Card for JetBlue purchases, because you're going to get yourself 6x back on JetBlue purchases with the JetBlue Business Credit Card. Now this card's also going to give you 2x back at restaurants and office supply stores, and then 1x back on all the purchases. Now this card does have a $99 annual fee, but with paying the annual fee, the benefits you're going to get with this card is going to be first check bag free. You're gonna get 5,000 bonus miles every single anniversary with paying the annual fee with this card. You're going to get yourself 50% back on in-flight purchases. You get a $100 statement credit after you make a purchase with JetBlue Vacations. You get Group A boarding, which is absolutely awesome and something I want to circle back to. This card has no foreign transaction fees, and also you get 10% of your points back for reward purchases. So if you end up finding a flight that costs you 100,000 JetBlue miles, you're gonna get 10,000 miles back in your account. Now the thing about JetBlue points is that they are dynamic pricing, similar to like Delta miles, where depending on the cost of the actual flight is going to determine how many points is actually going to be required to actually end up making that award purchase. Now I've found that JetBlue points typically give you about 1.4 to 1.5 cents per point in value, and I've also noticed that if you actually end up looking at flights for Mint class, which ends up being their transcontinental or also now transatlantic business class flights, they actually end up giving you less value for your points. You actually end up getting yourself closer to about 1 cent per point in value for most of those flights. Sometimes you can find it for better value than that, but typically when you actually end up doing the business class flights with JetBlue, they're actually going to give you less value for your points, which is pretty annoying with that program. So if you're someone who likes to frequently fly to New York or Los Angeles or to Boston, having JetBlue miles can definitely end up being valuable for you. Now, I think that there's many really good things about this card. There's one key thing about this card that I didn't even realize when I applied for the personal credit card that the personal credit card doesn't have that this card does. That ends up being the Group A boarding when you end up having the JetBlue Business Credit Card. I think that this ends up actually being a major benefit. There are other credit cards out there that end up giving you priority boarding where you actually end up getting yourself higher up the boarding class, but the JetBlue Business Credit Card ends up giving you Group A boarding, which ends up meaning that you can end up being the first person on the plane with this card. Now, there are many people who ask me about status with airlines. They want to know how they can get 1K with United or how they can end up moving up the ladder with Delta or any one of these programs. And the thing about it is I always tell people that if you can't get status naturally with these programs, chances are you probably shouldn't try to chase it because it's not really going to be worth it for you when you end up actually looking at the amount of value you're going to get from the status versus how much it's going to cost you to acquire it. But if you actually end up looking at the different benefits you're going to get from status, usually what you're going to get is going to be free checked bags, early boarding, and then upgrades. Now, you're not gonna get yourself upgrades just for having the JetBlue business credit card, but being able to get on the plane at the same time as people who are buying the business class flights is actually pretty incredible just for having this card. It's not gonna give you full status, but having the JetBlue business credit card is gonna be very close to actually having status without actually having to go through all the hoops of actually getting status. It's just gonna cost you $99 if you actually end up getting approved with this card. Barclays is a little bit harder to get approved for credit cards with, but if you actually can get approved for this business credit card and you are looking to get yourself status with an airline, but you don't actually put in enough work to actually get yourself status, I think this is the closest way to get yourself many of the benefits of actually having status just from getting approved for a credit card. And the awesome thing about having this card is you actually get yourself 5,000 bonus miles every single anniversary of having this card. So with that being valued somewhere near about like $70-ish, that would mean that the annual fee for this card ends up effectively coming down to being like 35 or 30 bucks a year. So would you pay $30 to get yourself 6x back on JetBlue flights, plus also get yourself Group A boarding? I mean, this card honestly seems like a keeper card in my opinion if you're someone who likes to fly with JetBlue. I definitely wish that I chose this card over the JetBlue Plus personal credit card because I just think that the value when it comes to getting that Group A boarding ends up being a nice feature to have because I really don't like being one of the last people on the plane who ends up running out of overhead bin space and you end up having to check your bag and have to wait for it to come out the carousel at the airport. I haven't checked a bag in years and I love to just only bring my backpack and my carry-on. So getting Group A boarding, which is pretty much gonna be able to secure having overhead bin space, ends up being an awesome feature to have. Now, there are some downsides when it comes to having JetBlue miles. One of them is going to be the fact that JetBlue doesn't have a bunch of partners. They're not part of any type of alliance as the same way that United and American Airlines are. So if you want to travel international in business and in first class, then JetBlue is definitely not going to be the program that you're going to want to earn all of your miles with. Because if you end up looking at the value you can get with like American Airlines miles internationally with their partners, it can end up being pretty crazy, but you won't be able to get that with your JetBlue miles. And also with the dynamic pricing, you won't be able to get yourself any type of crazy value for your miles even on JetBlue flights. But for domestic flights, I think that JetBlue miles can actually end up being some of the better miles out there, and the JetBlue business credit card I think secretly is one of the better airline credit cards that not that many people have. If you want to get yourself priority boarding, get yourself 5,000 miles each year, $100 towards a statement credit when it comes to JetBlue vacations, and then also 50% back on in-flight purchases, then the JetBlue business credit card is the one that you want to add to your wallet. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about the JetBlue business credit card? Is this a card that you've ever actually looked into? And would you ever get this card specifically just to get Group A boarding? Now, if you happen to be interested in this card or any other card out there, check out my referral links in the description box. If you decide to use them, they will really help out the channel, and I'll be incredibly thankful for your support. If you happen to really like this video, then please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.